Hello, everyone. This is Jimmy, and you're reading with Jimmy, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Chapter 4, Analysis, pages 50 to 51. The rabbit sends in a little bill. We left off the last couple of pages with Alice eating a cake, faulty logic, but not for Wonderland, and shrinking and running out of the house to see Bill being in the middle, held up by two guinea pigs. Bill was the lizard that went down the chimney that got kicked. Who were giving it something out of a bottle. It, there's the pronoun. What were they giving Bill out of a bottle? Pardon me. The brandy. It's what you give people that have a shock, a little taste of brandy. They made a rush at Alice. The moment she appeared, they just rushed her. This was the intruder. They didn't even think about how she got so small. She ran off as hard as she could, and she found herself safe in a thick wood. So she runs away. How tall is Alice now? Well, if she got through the door and ran away and got in the door, she's probably the same size. We can't conclude decisively yet, but she's probably less than 4 inches, which is pretty small. So now she's said to herself, this is this chapter, these 2 pages will go quickly. She needs a plan. She got to make a plan, right? First thing she's got to do is grow to the right size. She's got to figure out how to get to the right size. She's just not the right size. She's either too big or too small. And the second thing, she's got to find her way into that lovely garden. She can't get the garden out of her mind, right? That little garden. Remember where she saw the garden? Do you? She was peeping through the rat hole, remember, peeping? And she saw that lovely garden. She's got to get to that garden. I think that'll be the best plan. So she starts planning. There's a lot of planning going on, and Alice, she's got to get there, right? So it sounded like an excellent plan, very neatly and simply arranged. The only difficulty was that she had not the smallest idea how to set about it. In other words, she doesn't know how to do this. So you can have a plan. The best laid plans of mice and men often go astray. You've heard that perhaps, if not. So planning is very important. You got to write your plans down. You got to try to achieve your plan. You can dream anything you want. You can, I'll go to the moon. It doesn't matter. You got to have, if you have a plan, you got to have the steps that lead to the plan. But she doesn't have any idea how she's going to get to the right size or get into that garden. So she was looking around the trees anxiously, and a little sharp bark, there was a sharp bark, came over her head and made her look up in a hurry. It's over her head. Remember, she's 4 inches, right? A little less. There was an enormous puppy. Now, the word enormous is interesting. It's only enormous because she's 4 inches tall. Remember, size in Wonderland is relative. Size in life is relative. Some people are smaller, some people are larger, some people are bigger, people are wider, people are narrower. Size, all sorts of sizes. It's the size that's interesting because in this case, you got a puppy barking. And Alice reacts to this bark, right, by stretching out one paw and trying to touch her. That's what the puppy's trying to do, touch her with a paw. Now, if you're 4 inches tall and the puppy, it's a puppy, but a puppy is certainly bigger than 4 inches. Alice says, poor little thing, in a coaxing tone, coaxing. She forgot how small she is. She tried hard to whistle, but she was terribly frightened. All at the time thought it might be hungry, in which case it would be very likely to eat her up in spite of her coaxing. It's going to eat her. You see what I'm saying? She forgets how small she is. She loves the poor puppy, and then it might eat her. She doesn't know what. She picks up a little stick, and she holds it out to the puppy, whereupon the puppy jumped into the air off its feet with a yelp of delight and rushed at the stick and made believe to worry. Then Alice dodged behind a great thistle. Thistle? What's a thistle? Look it up. To keep herself from being run over. This is her experience. Remember, experience is important. We can only judge by our experience. She made the mistake of coaxing the puppy because she forgot how tall she was. because she's not tall. If she were as tall as she was when she was stuck in that rabbit's house, this puppy would be not a problem to deal with. But it's a problem now. There's a great movie called The Incredible Shrinking Man, science fiction from the 50s, I think, or 60s. You should look it up and watch it. It's interesting. It's an interesting concept, shrinking. So the puppy began a series of short charges at the stick. So she's playing with the stick now, which is what you do with dogs. They chase sticks. They don't know any better, right? And in that case, a long way walk till there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the chapter. She seems it's a good opportunity to make her escape with this puppy. Meantime, with the stick, she's playing with the stick, size is relative, and she leaves. And that's really what happens. So don't forget the neighbor's dog does to small creatures. You see that note in the middle? If you remember earlier when we were reading, she was talking about the neighbor's dog, to the mouse, who also ate mice and birds. The neighbor's dog was a prolific eater of creatures, right? And Ellis is 4 inches tall, and I'm surprised this puppy didn't eat her. So I think the narrator is weaving a wonderful story of what could happen when you have size as a relative. That's a relative thing. Size is relative, right? Think about size for a moment. What does that mean? Well, we don't really think about it. We look around. Did you ever look at the night sky? Did you ever think about how big a star is? You should look it up. What's the closest star to us and how big it is, and why does it look so small? Why does it look so small? Well, one of the reasons is our perceptions. Our perceptions are often fools, right? They fool us sometimes. When you're driving a car, if you drive a car, there's a sign on one of the rear view mirrors that things look closer than they really are. Have you seen that sign? Sometimes it's printed only when you look at the mirror, because that mirror is there for a reason. A rear view mirror, right, on your side has a blind spot. When you look in a rear view mirror and you're driving a car, there's a blind spot. A blind spot means you can't see even though something's there. Did you know that? So perceptions are often fooling what reality really is. Recently, I started seeing double from one of my eyes, and the eye doctor diagnosed it as fourth nerve palsy. You can look that up. Very scary, because I was seeing two of everything. And then they made a plastic lens to put over my eye for the 16 weeks that it took to heal. It didn't take 16 weeks, but that's what the doctor said it would. So perceptions are very interesting, very interesting. And Ellis, going up and down in her size, gets a chance to really think about perceptions of size in a very, very different way. Do you ever think about what we look like to a small child? If a small child looks at adults and sees giants, right? They see giants. Do you ever stand next to a professional basketball player? That's a giant, isn't it? Or a football player. Anyway, thanks for reading. Thanks for listening. This is Jimmy. We're going to finish chapter 4 in the next audio rather. You're reading with Jimmy. My email address is jimmy@readingwithjimmy.com. Jimmy@readingwithjimmy.com. This is chapter 4. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.